And the closer you get to that blue dot position, the more power, personal power, influence, money, and all good things start to flow into your life naturally.
Hello, everybody. Good morning and welcome to Move, Crush, Count. This is a podcast where we learn how achievers are changing business growth strategies. The Move, Crush, Count podcast specializes in delivering content from experts that are going to help your business grow by interviewing experts on how to discover how you can strike back against a world that's trying to marginalize and commoditize you. So if you really desire to differentiate yourself in your business and you want to learn from experts, then this is the podcast for you. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the roadmap. So I've seen you talk a little bit before about 5 hidden forces that kind of hold people back from becoming who they're called to be, right? So could you talk to us about those 5 things? And then as you're doing that, how do we fix those 5 things? So here's what they are. Here's what's holding you back. But how do we adjust? How do we fix that?
Sure. Okay. Yes, there are different ways and different things that are holding us back mentally. But if there is one thing that you are taking out with you after listening to this, I would say this is the conflict within your own mind. This is number one thing that is holding you back, because the majority of people don't really question how their mind works. And so our mind has different layers. And one of them is what we call the subconscious mind or the soul. Now, this subconscious level actually has its priorities, its fears, its likes and dislikes, and the ideas of what it wants to achieve in life. So these 4 levels, there we go. I don't know if you can see, hopefully you can. Okay.
Kind of. So, I can see the diagram. I can't read the words.
Okay. No. So the 4 levels of the mind, we are not concerned with the physical and we're not concerned with the spiritual mind right now, but we are concerned with the 2 levels that everyone, even people who are not into psychology, everyone knows about. And this is our ego, our conscious level, our story of self, and our subconscious. And so, as I said, the subconscious has its own ideas of what it wants to achieve in life, its priorities, its drive, its fears, and its needs. And so does the ego. And the problem is that in the majority of people, these 2 are not aligned. And this is why, if your mind is not aligned, chances are you're living beneath your potential. Chances are you're not quite living the life that you deserve and you can live, like your actual divine right to have an amazing life. But if your mind doesn't agree with what direction to go to, it's like you're sitting in a cart with 2 horses and each of the horses is trying to go its own way and you're not going anywhere because you're stuck because they're not agreeing. So there needs to be one particular focus on one direction where you apply your efforts, both consciously and subconsciously, and not integrating these 2 levels of the mind, which can be done through meditation, by the way. It's not some like super difficult out there technique. It's something that anyone can do. It's just the majority of people simply don't know why and how they should do it. And so these 2 levels of the mind is what creates your reality, because apart from the energy and manifestation level that I spoke about, we also create our reality, our everyday life, by the way we act, the choices that we make, and the way we feel about ourselves. And so these things originate in our mind. You know, your choices come from your mind. The way you feel about yourself comes from your mind. Nobody gives you that to you. It's something that you create yourself. Now, that conflict between the conscious and the subconscious mind, that internal war, if the differences are too big, so for example, the soul goes, oh, I want to do this thing, and the ego says, no, I want to do that thing, can start depression and can really start making that person spiral down emotionally and mentally. I'll give a quick example. So last week, I was talking to someone who came to me wanting to be a student, and I said, okay, he was a guy in our entrepreneurial coaching space, and I said, okay, so what's your goal? He said, well, I want to have greater revenue per month. And then I said, okay, well, let's find out what's stopping you from getting there. And so we went through the process, and what we've uncovered that his soul absolutely violently disagreed with him being a coach.
So how did you discover that? Like, because I think there's a lot of people, and I've gone through it, right? Where you've done something and maybe you were very successful at something for a very long period of time, and it's become a little mundane to you, right? Some of the things that used to excite you no longer do. You're no longer as passionate as you once were. And so there's something new for you. There's another level that you're trying to get to. So I think there's so many people that struggle with finding their true purpose, or their what they're really passionate about, and what they're competent at. I think it's hard to have any type of sustained effort. You can be passionate about something, but if you're not good at it, or if you don't become good at it,
you do if you're passionate enough.
Correct, because you want to learn, you want to do the practicing, and you want the repetition, and you don't give up on that. So, how do you find that? Like, so what made? Let's take this specific example you just gave.
Sure.
Here's a person, a business person that wants to achieve a certain amount of revenue doing coaching, what he thought he should be doing, coaching.
Yes.
And you discover this isn't what he wants. So how do you do that?
I have a special meditation technique that allows you to uncover what your soul truly wants. So you silence the ego and you allow your soul to speak. And I don't actually tell them beforehand, so that the results are clear. So there is no placebo effect and there is no expectation. And so once I took him through this meditation, what we've discovered that he didn't want to be a coach, actually. He wanted to create music. And I said to him after the meditation, after the technique, he was nearly in tears. He's like, it moved me so much. I just realized that I've been wasting my time. And I said, okay, so tell me, why did you decide to be a coach? And he said, well, it's because I believe that being a music creator, an artist, a musician, would never make you any money. And I wanted to travel the world and work from beaches and have expensive cars. And so I looked at this entrepreneurial community, and they were all doing that, or seemed to be doing that. And so I decided to do that because they told me that was the goal and that was the vehicle to realize my dream. And it's not just him. I met so many people in this space who are in the exact same position. And I said, look, that is a limiting belief. Think of all the people out there who are really rich and wildly famous creating music. So that is just your own limiting belief that you imposed on yourself to stop you from doing what you love, and instead pushing you into something you're not truly passionate about. And no wonder that you procrastinate.
So what happens for someone like that? Let's just say, I mean, there are a lot of people that would like to be in music that aren't good. So let's just say I would be one of them. I would love to be in music. All right. But I couldn't create it. I can't play the instruments. So what happens if someone, that's what they want, that's what they're passionate about? I have an idea of where I would go as a business person with this, but let's say they're horrible. They suck at it and they end up making no money. So then what happens then?
It means that it's not their true path. So this is how it works. Imagine a circle with an orange dot somewhere within that circle, and then with a blue dot right in the middle. And so the blue dot position represents your ultimate personal expression. And the closer you get to that blue dot position, the more power, personal power, influence, money, and all good things start to flow into your life naturally. So you don't have to struggle for it. Opportunities just open. And you get to experience, or you get to live in what people describe as a state of flow. And they chase it, they try to hack it. It's like hacking the state of flow. But really, you don't need to hack it. It's your normal, natural state. It's just something that you've lost. But you regain it as soon as you start aligning with your truth. So imagine it this way. Imagine that the universe is like an infinite amount of choices. And those choices are doors with locks on them, like old-fashioned locks, okay? And each person born in this world is a key of a particular shape to unlock a specific door somewhere out there. And what most people do is that they try to force themselves into other people's realities and other people's locks. So they're trying to unlock a door that was not meant for them. And this is why they're bad at it. And they never succeed with it. They struggle and struggle, but nothing ever comes from it. Because as soon as you align with the true expression of self, you are actually supported by the universe. This is another concept that most people don't understand, because we've been too brainwashed to think that we have to hustle, 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 and struggle, struggle to get somewhere. But really, the universe works in a way that follows the most harmonious path. You can call it the path of the least resistance, but in a good way. And the best way to learn about energy, like you don't need to be a super spiritual or anything. If you want to know how energy works, observe a stream. So if a stream runs through some terrain, through some land, and you watch what it does, it will find the best places, the most convenient, the easiest places to run, right? It wouldn't go up. It wouldn't go into awkward places. It would actually flow in the best possible way. So the energy in the universe always tries to flow in the best possible way to support your evolution. And the only thing that the universe actually wants from you, because we are not just separate human beings, we are in that quantum soup. We're sharing this reality with all other people and all other realities. So we're separate, but together in a way. And so the universe is trying to support us to be in the best possible place. But because of that conflict in the mind that I spoke about earlier, the conscious and the subconscious mind that start this internal war and go, right, I'm not going to go with the flow of the universe. I'm going to go somewhere else, and I'm going to actually flow against or swim against the current. And this is where we experience all this struggle and all this pain, because quite often people who go into things, say even music, there are loads of people who never succeed. And this is the same as with coaching, because they go there thinking that they would be successful for, say, the wrong reasons. They just want their ego to be happy about it. It's not because their essence is music. Is because they see it as the easiest avenue. Say they saw some famous singer when they were younger and that impressed them so much that they wanted to be like that person. But the truth is, we achieve our greatest success by being our greatest selves. So the more you align with that blue dot position, with your true flow, with your true expression, regardless of what everyone else is doing, and what is popular, what is famous, what is considered to be an easy win, if you disregard that and listen to your soul instead, your soul will actually navigate you to where you should be. And you know, can they say in clickbait articles, the results may surprise you. And it's very true, because your ego, your conscious mind, if it doesn't talk to your subconscious mind, and it absorbs all those ideas. Oh, I need to be a famous celebrity. I need to be a famous coach, an entrepreneur, whoever else. And it doesn't understand that within you, you have a true treasure, and that those people who became really rich and famous, they didn't become rich and famous copying someone else. They got there because they expressed their truth. Now, if you express your truth, guess what? You are going to get there as well, but in your own way. And this is so super important in this new era, because remember, as a man, you should be a king and a ruler of your reality. So you should create a reality that nourishes your soul, not just satisfies your ego, because that's short-lived. Just as the example that you gave earlier, you were doing something for a while, it burned out, and it's not exciting anymore. If you follow your soul path, your subconscious, your true self, true desires, you align with that blue dot, you will then have this source of inspiration and excitement and passion that never dries out. Because the only thing that the universe wants from you is for you to grow as a person. That's number one thing. And there is a secret. The universe works like your target audience. For an entrepreneur, what you need to do to succeed in business, you give your audience, your clients, what they want, right? And they sustain your business. Now, if you give the universe what it wants, you can get anything you want. This is how it works.
I love, and as you're saying all this, my mind immediately goes to an analogy. Let's just take social media for a second, right? How many people out there, if they're an entrepreneur, sit there and say, all right, maybe I'm a little uncomfortable doing all this social stuff, getting on videos, doing whatever, but I have to do it. I've got to bust through that comfort zone and expand it. And they start doing it. And I think the repetition of that wears on people, especially if they don't see results right away. And let's face it, quite honestly, when you're first starting off doing it, it's not easy to just be yourself, because you're so worried about the perception of everyone else. You're trying to portray an image or a brand, and you're not just being you, right? You're not being your authentic self. Is it safe to say that when you're truly doing something that you're meant to do, and you're being authentic in the way you communicate it, that it's easy to recognize, not just because you're happier and you're in a better mood, but because things just start coming to you? Yes. In other words, you're not like, when you're first starting off, you're just so worried about, oh, how many likes can I get? How many people watched this? How many did that? And you're pushing and pushing and pushing. And then all of a sudden, when you're able to, when these things align, like you're talking about, things start just happening for you, opportunities. And then the hard part becomes trying to stay focused and decide what to turn down and reject, and what to put your attention to, right? Or your energy.
Absolutely. Very well said. Yes, it's so true, because if you give the universe what it wants, which is your evolution, you're growing into a greater version of yourself, you're becoming more authentic, the universe goes, yay, okay, send this guy everything he needs. Just let him keep going, because this is how it works. By our growth, we contribute to the well-being to the universe, so to speak. So the well-being of the universe is partially due to our well-being, and it wants us to prosper. It wants us to succeed. And the reason why we don't is when we ourselves sabotage our path and our progress by trying to copy someone else. And most people don't really understand what living their purpose means. And they think, oh yeah, well, have you seen this Ikigai chart? Like the Venn diagram, how to find your purpose. So you find what you like doing. All right. Yeah, I'll describe it to you. So this is what most people believe their purpose is. It's a diagram with circles, and one says, find what you like doing, find what you're good at, find what other people would pay you for, and find what the world needs. And then in the intersection of all those circles, you have purpose.
Correct. No, I've heard and seen that. Yes, I wasn't
Yes.
understanding what you were saying. Isn't isn't the easiest way, I guess, to make is it as simplest is it as simplistic as saying, if I want to teach people and I want to help people, help them win
Yes.
whatever, isn't your audience and aren't you being your authentic self if you're actually helping the people that you used to be? In other words,
Yes.
I mean, to me, that just seems like an easy path. Like, wow, I've used to be here. I'm here. This is how I did it. And I can, if teaching it, I'm not
Yeah.
saying not everybody wants to teach and coach and all that, but if that was your path, right? Because a lot of people also struggle with what should they teach? What should they coach? You clearly have
Yeah.
a passion here and you describe why you're so passionate about it. So that aligns well with you. But if someone else finds that align, I mean, I guess what I'm going to ask is, you seem very good at what you do. And so my question is, where were you prior to this?
So my challenge was actually to try and turn things down in a way, because I understood things that, you understand certain things as you go through life. It just age that does it to you. But because I looked a lot younger, and because people I connected to, say, on the same age, would not be able to yet grasp it because it was too early for them. They haven't yet experienced certain things that they needed in order to understand certain things. So that was my journey, which again is not applicable for my target audience. The only thing that would be applicable in a way is that the majority of my lifetimes, I'm and originally a male soul. So souls, just like bodies, have their own polarities. So there are male and female souls. But as we go through many lifetimes, we switch. So we get to experience both sides, but not in the equal measure. Well, luckily for me, because I resonate best with my natural polarity. And so in this lifetime, obviously, this is what I look. But in the majority of my lifetimes, where my body matched my actual soul polarity, I learned a lot of things that I can now share with the guys, especially younger guys, because they just physically did not have enough time to experience and learn it for themselves. So this is something that I think is a great gift that I can share with others. And so for this reason, I would say, if you don't know what to teach, don't teach.
Yeah, good point. That's a very good. It's very hard to be authentic if you don't have that answer. Let me ask you a question.
Just quickly, ask your soul. Just ask your soul. Sit quietly with yourself and imagine a scenario where absolutely everything in your life is the way you want. Like literally everything. Every single dream of yours has come true. All of it. Now, imagine yourself being immersed in that reality, and you have enough money to last you for a lifetime. You have the best relationship ever. You have the best house ever. Now, if that all was your reality, what would be your next move? What would you do now as you've got everything? And your soul will answer. So silence your ego, allow yourself to really enjoy that reality, allow yourself to experience it as though it were real, happening right now, and ask yourself, okay, so now as I've got this all, what do I really want to do to make my life worth living?
Yeah.
And wait for the answer.
That's a great visual and then question to ask on that. I would bet there is a lot of people that would struggle with the answer right away.
Give yourself some time. Don't rush it. Sit again and again. If your ego is very strong and it used to bully your subconscious, which it usually does, it loves to bully whatever is inside you, because it's only a quiet little voice, and the ego goes, "Oh, I'm the master here." So really immerse yourself in that reality of your dreams. Imagine that every single thing, like every stupid thing. Imagine if you say collect something, so you've got everything you ever wanted. And then what's next? What do you do to really fulfill yourself as a human being, to live a legacy, to create something memorable and important in this world as you, not anyone else? You're not copying anyone. You're not striving to fit the mold. Remember, the new era is not about fitting the mold. It's not about following the herd. It's about going your own way, creating your own way, and creating your own reality. And from there, you can 3x, 5x, 10x your business. Because if you are doing what you're meant to do, remember, the universe has your back. It's like setting your sail on a boat, right? If you set it in the direction of the wind, guess what? You are propelled forward like you can't even imagine. But if you're trying to paddle upstream with no wind in your sails, it's a struggle, it's super slow, it's depressing, it's frustrating. You start thinking, oh, what's wrong with me? What have I done to deserve all this? But really, all you need to do is to understand yourself better. Once you understand yourself better, and I do recommend you get a mentor for this, because it's hard to be fully transparent and fully objective with yourself. So discover who you actually are as a person, like deep down, before society told you who you should be. And once you discover who you are, it becomes super simple, because this is what I was trying to explain earlier with this Venn diagram. Your purpose is not what you do. Your purpose is who you are.
So I love what we're talking about here. I think, and I don't have the stats in front of me, but I know that, I think it's men that are business owners, men, entrepreneurs that are 40 to 50 years old. There's a decent percentage that take their own life. I guess depression kicks in. And so I don't have those actual things.
It's double the number of female suicides, unfortunately.
Wow. If someone starts applying what you're teaching in your book, and you've got multiple books, throw out a few of them, because I do.
Let me just show you something.
Nice. This has truly got to be a passion for you. Yes, love it. So
if my students love it, so it keeps me going.
If people start applying this stuff, how long does it typically take for them to start seeing, or even feeling, probably more important, feeling results?
All right. So they will feel the results straight away after the first session, straight away, and very powerful. And some people get really moved to tears because they realize just how much things they imposed on themselves unnecessarily, and how they can live as free and powerful human beings. And for a reality to catch up, it depends on the person and depends on their energy level. It takes a couple of weeks. And for the full transformation to occur, it takes half a year to a year. So looking back, you then see you were a completely different person. And many of my students said, I wouldn't even talk to the previous version of me because we wouldn't have anything to talk about.